Ready?
Yeah.
All right, cool.
How should we sit?
Yeah, I'm gonna sit right here. You can sit back. Just relax, dude.
So, which one is mine? Whichever one you want, man. Whichever one you want.
All right, guys. I'm here with Mr. Jordan Briones, coach extraordinaire on YouTube. Go find him at Briones Pickleball on YouTube. And
Thanks, man.
yeah, man, no problem. I got to give you the shout out. So this is in collaboration with SELKIRK University. Obviously, Jordan, you are a SELKIRK sponsored player, coach.
Yes, I am.
Okay.
Yeah.
Has that relationship been good to you?
It's been great. Yeah, it's almost been a year now, and ever since the beginning, it's been really great. I think SELKIRK's doing really great things. I think they're ahead of the curve when it comes to just all things that they do with technology, but also not just in paddles, but just what they do for the sport. So,
yeah. Well, speaking of staying ahead of the curve and whatnot, obviously I'm a baby, a newborn to the pickleball game. You've been in the pickleball space and community for how long has it been?
I think it's coming up on maybe 9 years.
9 years.
It's going to be coming up next year.
Almost a decade.
Yeah.
So are you considered? Could I call you an OG?
I think so.
Of pickleball?
I mean, as the game progresses and the sport grows more and more, I guess the OGs get older and older. 9 years is not a long time. But I guess to see where pickleball was 9 years ago to where it is today, it's night and day. So I would consider it somewhat of an OG.
Of an OG. Okay.
Yeah.
Well, speaking of OG and the progression of the game, obviously you know that I review and I look at paddles a lot, but so much has changed just within the past 1 to 2 years. Tell me a little bit more about your paddle journey. Like, what were you playing with 9 years ago? Like, what was the go-to paddle? Were people just playing with wooden paddles? Like, what was going on?
Yeah, so when I'm not that OG, okay? So I think that, before the 2000s, it was probably pretty much all wooden paddles. But, I got in the game.
You have a diller?
Huh?
What is it called? The dill?
The dill pickle, or I don't know.
Yeah,
something
yeah.
Like that. No, I didn't start with the wooden one. Back in the day, Pickleball Central actually had their own kind of like, just not a line, but they had their own paddle. It was called the Champion.
Okay.
And they made some reiterations during the years, but that's what I started out with. And I think it was just composite. I don't remember just the regular surface back then, but it definitely, obviously from then, it's changed dramatically. And then I switched over to some other brands and that's pretty crazy. I guess back then it'd be interesting to see how many paddle brands there actually were, but you probably could count them.
In one hand?
Or no, I mean probably in two hands or so.
Oh wow.
Back then, but
wait, was SELKIRK around back when you first started?
Oh no.
Oh
No. SELKIRK wasn't even around. Engage wasn't even around.
Wow.
And Paddle Tech may or may not. I'll have to fact check that. But I went from Champion paddles made by Pickleball Central, tried out a few different ones, and then I landed on I forgot the name of it, but I'm pretty sure it was like an Evo paddle. That company is not even no longer around. Okay. And then I played nationals 1 year, and that's where I met Robert Elliott, and actually that's from Engage. And he started. That's when he first started the paddle company.
For Engage, yeah. I met Josh, his son, Josh Elliott, who plays a lot.
So as OGs of the game, they came in, and then I think SELKIRK might have came in around the same time or just a little bit after. But obviously now I'm with SELKIRK years later, and I'm enjoying it so far.
Okay, awesome. Wait, so after Engage came out, did you play? Because I remember when I met you a year ago, you were playing with Engage. So you went from the Pickleball Central paddle, the Champion, right?
Yep.
And then what did you go to after that?
The paddle brand that's no longer
Evo.
That's no longer there. And then I think I might have experimented with a few, but after that nationals, I was playing with Engage.
I see.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
And then after Engage, then what?
Well, I was playing with Engage paddles pretty much for 5 years or so.
Wow.
So quite a while. They were at the time, I think, one of the top companies in technology and things like that. And like I said, I think SELKIRK came along a little bit just after them, and now for the past year and a half or so, I've been playing with SELKIRK. So.
I see. So what SELKIRK paddle are you playing with right now?
So when I first started with SELKIRK, I started playing with the Power Air.
Okay.
Okay, and that was the Invicta.
Yep, I like that one.
Then I actually switched over to the Epic.
The Epic and
Power Air.
Power Air.
Yeah, so
Why was that?
Just a bigger paddle face, and it just felt a little bit like a little bit bigger sweet spot. It's just the balance of it to me was a little bit just more to my liking. And then I switched to the 003, the project paddle that they came out with. Really great paddle, suited my game really well. You know, as a coach, as I'm recommending different paddles, I kind of, you know, see the player, what are their strengths, what are their weaknesses, what do they like to do with their game. So me, resets are big, so in my game, the Power Air just has a lot of pop and is not as forgiving as 003. So yeah, I really like the 003, added some lead tape on there, played with that a long time. And I still think it's a great paddle, but I just currently switched probably in the past 6 months or so to the SLK Halo.
SLK Halo, I remember that. You had the SLK Halo XL from what I remember. And now meeting you here again a couple months later, you're now using the Max, which is a little bit shorter, a little bit wider.
Yes.
What was the reasoning behind that?
Yeah, so I think part of it was just experimentation. Me coming from tennis, I really like the longer handle, and for two-handers specifically, because as my game has developed, actually talking about evolution of paddles, but not even evolution of my game as well. I didn't add a two-handed backhand probably until my third or fourth year of playing. That just kind of shows you, you know, I try to evolve also with the game because I had to keep my game up as well. So, but coming from tennis, really like the two-handed shot because it's a lot longer. I can fit both hands on it pretty comfortably. So from there though, as I'm playing higher level players and getting in the pro ranks and things like that, you know, hand speed is big. So I experimented, I think it was just a random thing with the Max a little bit, shorter handle and then bigger paddle face. I really like the resets in the beginning, like because it is a bigger, I feel like it's just easier to reset a little bit. I actually got comfortable just choking up with my left hand with the two-hander. So I felt like if I can kind of effectively hit two-handed shots with the Max, and still do that effectively, I can have my hand closer to the throat, which allows me to navigate the paddle a little bit quicker. So
okay, so you like now the more shorter paddles just for maneuverability and speed for the most part.
And then maybe, you know, as they come out with more, or maybe somewhere in between, I'm not sure, maybe that would be a good sweet spot, but right now that's what I'm playing with.
Gotcha.
Yeah.
Okay, awesome. Well, now that we've talked about that, let's kind of go into your impressions on the 006. Now, what were your thoughts about this paddle? I feel like it was probably, maybe before was in your wheelhouse, but now that you've told me that you've switched to something that's just a little bit shorter for maneuverability, that it may not be for you. So what are your thoughts on it?
Yeah, so initial thoughts, I probably spent a couple hours maybe.
Yeah.
Like total or less than that, because I did try it at home for a little bit. But so a couple things. I really like the softness. I think that millimeter suits my game really well.
The 16?
16. I like the responsiveness, and I like to feel the ball. So I've always been like kind of a 16 millimeter player or something around there. But one thing I did notice is that I don't know, I guess people are going to describe it different ways.
Right.
I describe it as springing off the paddle, or more like a rubber band, kind of like just a elasticity or whatever. But just compared to, let's say, what I'm playing with, like the Halo. Halo's really soft, it feels really good. So is the 006, the 006, but it goes a lot further, and I can feel it come off my paddle a little bit more. So I really like that. The shape, I definitely am not used to. I would have to experiment more. I'm still mishitting a lot, and I think that's just due to shape.
I see.
But rolls felt really good. Obviously, in the the 006, the sweet spot's a little bit further because of the shape. So just getting used to, again, a longer paddle. But I really liked it. I think the spin was really good. And again, the power it's not like a power air, because the power air is very
Poppy.
it's poppy and you can feel it and it's hard.
Right.
It's
powerful, but not poppy.
It's springy.
Springy.
Yeah, it's different. It's
yeah, there's like a slingshot kind of effect almost, because at the net or for slow shots, I feel like it absorbs the ball very well, and you can really drop pretty well with it. But if you can get a full swing on it,
yes,
it really goes.
That's what I think. Full swings, and then it's still really good for resets. So I like the paddle.
I think it's one of the most solid resetting paddles. I mean, I know the sweet spot isn't as large, but the weight of it just feels so substantial. And so when I'm resetting, I'm digging out balls, like it just, I don't know, it just floats back over almost effortlessly.
Yeah, no, it feels great in the sweet spot. Yeah, so we'll see. I know it's a project paddle, but maybe they'll make one with a bigger paddle.
Yeah, bigger paddle face for you.
In the future.
Okay. Before we end this, I'm just curious. I know you've started doing some paddle reviews yourself.
Yeah.
And you've hit with, I'm sure, obviously you've been in pickleball for 9 years.
Yeah.
How does this compare to some of the more recent, newer, popular paddles out on the market right now? The 006.
006.
Yeah.
It's definitely different. The shape is, I think SELKIRK is experimenting with different shapes. I think that's good for the game. So it's definitely springier than anything I've played with. So it's a different feel. But I think spin was really good, and the resetability, I call it, like just the way it feels for resets, like the responsiveness was really good.
I think it's one of the best resetting paddles out there.
Yeah, but that's my take. And I'm sure that they're going to be keep improving.
Yeah, for sure. All right, thanks, Jordan.
Yep. All right, man. All right, dude.
Sweet. Yeah, it's light enough. It's like we're on a date.